Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This is just a quick short video in which I thought I'd try and go back to one of the tougher topics to do in business. It's one of corporate governance. And corporate governance is quite often a misunderstood one because it's so many, I want to say, so many rules. Corporate governance is more guidelines than there are actual strict rules. Legislation is a rule. The basic conditions of employment are rules. All of them are rules. Corporate governance is a set of principles. This is what we should achieve, what we hope to achieve, what is good practice to achieve, but it's not what is forced to achieve. Yes, the King Codes exist, and the King Codes are becoming more enforceable. The JSE index is becoming more enforceable. They're not making it incentivizing businesses to follow these principles. They're not forcing businesses, which is why they generally are more successful. It's like a kid. Try and tell a kid, a 5-year-old, to do something. Tell him to do something, he's going to try and not do it. Tell him there's an ice cream minute for it, where if he does it, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll do it. So I'm going to run through the core principles, explain each one, and tell you how you can link it to the King Code specifically. So obviously, the first thing you can do is you can always, when corporate governance comes up, you can talk about the triple bottom line. And I've put a little photo there. Okay, it's people, planet, and profits. People, are we looking after social equity? So you can look at something like the Employment Equity Act. You can look at your BEE score. Are we improving the lives of everyone? Are we trying to address social issues? Are we addressing the problem in South Africa of unemployment? Are we addressing the problem of poverty? Are we addressing the problem of social injustice? It's a difficult one. Most businesses try and avoid that because it's such a grey area and because it's such a contentious area. Profit is, are we economically prosperous? Is there economic prosperity? It was the original bottom line, meaning that in the start, we only cared about the bottom line because if the bottom line worked, we if we made profit, we survived. Businesses are being encouraged to do more than profit. Yes, economic prosperity is important. We want to have enough money to not just survive, but to thrive. So we're trying our best to do that. But what we can do is we need to start looking after the planet, and this is something that has become more and more with eco warriors. That's a bad word, actually. Eco environmentalists, people who are pushing for these types of things. So we want to encourage that, and we want to bring the triple bottom line to play. You can always bring this triple bottom line. One thing to remember with triple bottom line is what's the wording. If I ask you what it is, then you say triple bottom line refers to people, planet, profit. If I ask you how to use it with people, you say, start a feeding scheme in the local area. For clothing, start donating old clothing to food or homeless shelters. For clothing, we can say that sanitary drives, or even as much as the clothing doesn't always deal with it, it's becoming a part of everything. With home stores, trying to take some of the damaged goods and selling them in the home stores, or taking goods made by local artisans and selling them in our home stores, whatever. Okay, but when it asks you for how, um, when it asks you for how, you need to give an action verb. When it comes to profit, you need to say we need to analyze the financial statements. We need to project and plan for the future. We need to, for planet, you need to say we need to create awareness around this by doing online ads. We need to partner with local industries that are closer so that we reduce our petrol emission. You need to have an action verb. That's the one thing to watch it talk about. When I said earlier, I said corporate governance is all about principles. If you know these 7 principles, 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, right? You can do these 6 principles. You can talk corporate governance. You can talk anyone about corporate governance, and it can be your safe. So I'm going to do each one individually. So I'm not going to read them now, not to waste your own time, but you can read them there. So, transparency. What transparency is being open and clear with your communication. Okay? Being open and being honest about things that have gone wrong, whether it's whether things that you are doing, whether it's with your employees, whether it's with all stakeholders. So, what it is, and what I said there's that need to know basis, meaning that everyone that should know about something knows about it. transparency is often funny. It's like, not if you have a secret base that you can now go and, or you have a secret product that you want to sell and you've got to now expose it to the world. But everything that's important, let's say you are opening a factory in a local area and it's going to affect the local populace. You need to be transparent and you need to say to them, look, we're going to damage maybe a part of the ecosystem, but we will repair it. Okay, it's best to not just build a building and say, oh, gee, sorry, we didn't think this through. Transparency is all about it. And this was really introduced when King 3 integrated the thing of integrated reporting. So you had to find both financial and non-financial. So you had to say what your social impact was. In the past, all the financial statement was a bunch of numbers. We made profit. Yes, great, we survived. The integrated report, it means that people had to be honest about what did they do for the environment? What did they do for social justice? So King 4 just took this further and they said we need to be accurate and it needs to be balanced. So it should take all the strategy, all of your performance and prospects in the future as well. King 3 and King 4 is, remember, apply or explain to apply and explain. King 4 just kind of made it more of a requirement, not a choice. When you talk about transparency, talk about King 3 and 4 and say, how do we ensure transparency? Through the integrated reports. We are forced to talk about more than just our profits. We are forced to say what our industry, what our business is doing for the environment. What are we doing for the people in our care? Okay. When it comes to accountability, so accountability, you know the definition most of you do. I'll give you a quick one. Is you are accountable for your actions, meaning that you take responsibility and you say yes, we were right, or no, we were wrong. So what it is in King 1 to King 4, it's a bit of everything. There's no specific component of it. But what they say is that the board of directors is accountable for the strategy implementation, for the monitoring, and for the compliance with these laws. So what it is it's putting accountability on board of directors. Board of directors are no longer just the head bigwigs that earn the big dividends. They really have to take accountability and they have to speak up when things are going right and they get the praise when it goes right, but they also get the flack when things go wrong. So that is what accountability is, and King 4 really puts accountability in the hands of, or on, not really in their hands, but on the board of directors. This one is an interesting one. Independence, and the photo I've put there is, let's say this boy on the left there, he's the one who's making all the decisions. But as we can see in the photo, he's being told by his friends next to him what to say or what to do. They might be playing telephone for all we know. But I'm interpreting it as the kids on the left, or you're on the right if you're looking at the screen, are telling the boy what to say and what to do. And that is what independent is not. Independence means that decision making, especially from the board of directors, should not be made by people outside of the business's control. Meaning that they should really, or businesses should really focus on having directors that do not have a conflict of interest and that are not swayed by outside interests. This is why independent directors are put in. I think it's in, if you see in King 3 and 4, yeah, meaning that you have independent non-executive directors. And what a non-executive director is, means someone who actually does nothing in the business. It is not a head of HR, it is not a head of marketing. He is no way. His only thing is to be an outside party that looks at all of the departments and makes decisions that are best for the business. Remember, if I'm the head of HR and the budget meeting comes up and I need to decide if I'm going to give more money to HR or if I'm going to give more money to marketing, obviously my decision is going to be impaired. I'm going to give more money to HR because I know the importance of HR, but I don't necessarily know marketing. The non-executive people, you really want those independent directors to make decisions that are objective and that are best for business. Remember, your responsibilities as a director is to act with fiduciary care, or fiduciary duty, and act with care, meaning you have to make the best decision for the business. Fairness is one of the ones where you talk about quite often. It means that everyone is considered and respected. All decisions should be equitable and everybody should be at least considered when decisions are made. You can't keep everyone happy. Fairness does not mean everybody is treated the same and everyone should be happy. It means that everyone should be considered. So if you can't consider what everyone's doing, fairness is being breached. Okay, and fairness, again, I'm going to talk about fairness over risk management, but fairness isn't really mentioned. It's mentioned throughout the King Code. There's no specific part of King Code. This means that, and that's, again, you can link it to integrated reporting, meaning that in your integrated report, you have to mention all stakeholders. If you go and read through an integrated report, you'll see every stakeholder and their aunt is mentioned because they have to show that they were fair and that they looked at it from everyone's perspective. The last one, especially in King 3 and 4 again, I think mostly King 4, is risk management. Risk management is exactly what it says, is that you can navigate potential threats and you can seize potential opportunities. So King 3 laid the framework for it, where the board is responsible for the system. And King 4 expanded it that you need to do internal and external. As Principle 11 of King 4 is responsible that supports the organization's strategic objectives. Okay, they must look at not only financial risks, but reputational risks, social risks, and operational risks. Okay, meaning a business can no longer just look at what's going to affect their profits. They have to look at what's going to affect your reputation, what's going to affect the social impact. Okay, you've got to look at the risk not only for yourself, but you've got to put your puzzle piece and make sure your puzzle fits with everyone else's puzzle. And if you can talk about these, obviously please go and have a look at my previous video on the JSE, how the JSE looks at things and how the Global Reporting Initiative looks. But if you can talk about these concepts, you can nail a corporate governance essay or a corporate governance topic in any way. I hope that this will help, and I hope that you guys are enjoying your studying before the end of the year. Enjoy the rest of the week, and if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments, or if you have my email, it's in one of my previous videos, you can always email. Thanks, guys.